time for more real talk about the voiceover industry with your hosts, Linda Bruno and JJ Wilson. It's the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
All right. I do like your shirt today, JJ.
Thank you. I thought I'd be colorful.
I feel like you're on vacation or something.
Yeah, I've been on the phone with doctors all day.
So that's not a vacation.
No.
Well, welcome back. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Hello, JJ. How are you today?
I'm fine, Linda. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Doing pretty
Wait, that
good.
was my AI voice.
Oh, no. Don't do your AI voice.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Very good. Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you, Linda.
So I couldn't.
We have a really cool guest today, you know.
I
Did
know.
You know that?
And,
I know she lives like around the corner.
Everybody
from
lives
me.
around the corner from you, JJ.
It's amazing.
Like the whole world has
I know.
moved to Nashville, it seems.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But she's been there for a long time, so we can't say that. And I couldn't keep her all to myself because she's the most amazing vocal coach. Judy Rodman is joining us today. Hello, Judy.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be with you.
So we have a little bit of history because back when my father was dying, I wound up reacting physically with vocal tightness, severe vocal tightness. And as everybody knows, if you're a voice actor, that is like the worst thing to possibly happen to you. So I found Judy, and thankfully she was doing online lessons before it was such a big deal. Yeah,
Cool.
now. And she's out of Nashville, obviously. And it was amazing because you helped me work with technique. You helped me really also mentally, because there's so much mental that goes into it to be able to release and move through whatever it is you're working through. And we're always working through something, but it was really valuable. So I'll forever be grateful to you for that.
This is funny
Well,
that we're doing this because
my honor.
for years I've been wondering, during that time in my life when my mom passed away, I had anxiety beyond repair. And I noticed the same thing, that I would get like this.
Yeah.
And I knew, I was just like this all the time, and it was hard. I wish I'd known Judy back then.
I know. It was very helpful. But Judy, you have an incredible list of accomplishments. You're an award-winning songwriter, a producer, recording artist, amazing vocal coach, a jingle singer as well. She had a hit record. She had a hit song.
Really?
Yeah, tell us about that, Judy. Tell us how you started off.
Well, I started off, doing background vocals, and long story short, Tommy West, who used to work with Jim Croce, he had moved to Nashville after Jim died and was looking for somebody else to get behind, and I had started writing some songs. So I was doing background vocal with him for Ed Bruce, and I said, "Do you want to hear my song?" And so he did. So, long story short, he formed MTM Records with two other people, Howard Stark and Alan Bernard, and I was their flagship artist that they signed. And we were like the boutique label before there were boutique labels. We were the sort of the forerunner of all these indie things that have some money behind them. And I had a hit career there for a while, and it's weird. It's like I was talking to somebody the other day. It's like in this business, if you're in it for very long, and I've been in it for 50 years, your career is going to morph. It's going to change. You're going to hit brick walls, and you're going to fail at everything you succeed at.
Yeah.
Eventually,
yes,
but
it does
But
change.
the cool thing is that if you know how to process those fails, absolutely nothing is wasted. So all my time in the spotlight, and on the Johnny Carson show, and then all those places I got to be with hit songs on MTM Records, I've been there. I do know what it feels like. And like you're talking about tight voice with voiceover, it happens to artists too. I mean, there's always that horrible phone call you had with your girlfriend or spouse or a boyfriend right before the concert, and you've got to compartmentalize that. And this tissue has got to compartmentalize it and go, okay, that's there. This is now. And so we've got more control than we know we do. And I think that's part of training, is to get us back in control of our own voices.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. I mean, my father was a radio disc jockey and a voiceover actor, and my mother was an actress. And no matter what, the motto in my house was the show must go on.
Yeah.
And so you really do compartmentalize it. And I did a voiceover the
sometimes
day
it's
my mother
sneaky.
died. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I did she would have wanted me to do the voiceover, and I knew that I could hear her. But it's very true. Very true.
I had to sing a cappella.
Did you have music with it?
The Lord's Prayer. Without music.
No, I know.
Without music.
I know.
The Lord's Prayer at my father's funeral. And I'll tell you what, you talk about compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
It's like you zone out. There's a time where you don't want to be present.
Yes, no.
And so you zone, just like these little tricks that you can learn. But you also have to kind of be vigilant about what's really going on rather than what you think is going on. So that's where having a friend who's in the business, doing what you do, or a coach like me that you can touch base with, or somebody like that outside can help you cut the back of your hair, sort of.
I like that term.
Make that analogy.
He doesn't like any hair. JJ doesn't like
Judy?
any hair.
I can help you.
Do you have a wig?
That's
all that works.
So, you've had such an amazing career. But so talking about the mental aspects of this with performance, because performing as a voice actor, performing as a singer, it all ties together. So compartmentalizing, so can you just get a little more specific as to how, if someone's going through something really, really rough and suddenly, you have to go do a job,
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. If I said, Linda, don't look at that purple elephant with the 3 gold earrings in its left ear and something coming out of its nose, there's no way you can't turn and look. But if I say, okay, there's that behind you, but there's a bus in front of you, and it's about to hit you, then you're going to forget about the elephant, if not for just the moment. So that's where acting technique comes in, where you can set yourself in the moment. Setting yourself up a little bit is really important too, and all the training I know you've had too, where you kind of use your sensory input and you can imagine things, imagine smelling, touching, tasting, feeling, and just centering yourself in the scene you're about to be in. Then the important thing is to know who you're talking to and what you want their response to be. And with voiceover and with a lot of these virtual things that we do, we can't see somebody, right? So we have to use our imaginations, but it's got to be vivid. And so the more sensual we can make it, we really go there and we really imagine the physical, even if it's a real subtle response from the heart you're talking to, the better. And we're not talking about they're going to change their behavior. No, we just want to look. We want the eyes to go down, or we want the eyes to widen, or we want the breath to change. Those little subtle human things that happen when you're really responding to somebody telling you something. That thing is on sale that you want. Really?
Yeah.
That's what we tell our students in our classes and our workouts.
Yeah.
I always say that you must, I tell them to watch my face. I actually did a video the other day where I was reading a piece of copy and I said, don't listen to me, just watch my face. And the eyes get bright and the smile comes in. And I said, it's not just a smile with your face, it's got to come from in here and with your eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I hear, it's hard for people in the beginning to let go to do that, which I understand. But once they get that, it's a great technique because it really does bring out the read.
It does.
It's amazing.
It does.
It's amazing.
It does. And the other thing people are looking for now, as I know you guys know, is authenticity. It's not enough to just sound like the radio voice of God.
Right.
They want to feel like you are talking to them like you really would, instead of that you're announcing some product or some event or something like some kind of TV announcement.
And that's the Millennial Group is. We find that sometimes
they don't believe you. Yeah.
Sometimes we find in the Millennial Group we have to say things like, I'm sorry, this is about COVID, and it does have to sound like you care just a little. It's just like, oh, yeah, well,
I saw actually, it was an ad running on Hulu, and it was this girl standing in a kitchen, and she's like, cooking is hard. And I swear to you, I want to reach in and strangle. And then it goes into a frying pan that apparently does everything. I'm not quite sure how much more.
Changes the oil in your car.
She's just like, cooking is hard.
Oh my gosh! I saw a coach that supposed to help you get more confident on camera, and I could not read her lips. If the thing is turned off, I have no idea what language she's speaking in. No eyes, no mouth.
Yeah, it's just
standing there, no expression.
I don't care.
And it's like, okay.
There's no connection.
Really?
Yeah.
No connection. No. And let's go through a fun little exercise.
Sure.
Want?
Okay, I don't exercise much, but okay.
Okay. You'll like what we're going
do I have to get
exercise
up?
now.
I don't have to get up, do I? Okay,
You don't have
good.
to stand
I can
up.
just stay seated.
That does not involve your toes. Yes.
Good. I haven't seen them in 2 years anyway.
Okay, so everybody, including listeners or watchers, raise your eyebrows and feel what happens in your nose when you do that.
My nose.
What happens in your
My
nose?
nose kind of flares a little bit.
It opens up.
It does.
Yeah.
And it flares.
You had no idea that your eyebrows were connected to your nose, eh?
That's not the way the song goes, Judy.
Okay. Now, the next part of this little exercise is count to 3, semi-loud, okay? And you're going to do it 2 ways. 1, with poker-faced eyes, without anybody reading your eyes. And 2, with crazy eyes. I think you just heard my voice change anyway. But anyway, okay, so 1, 2, 3, loud. Ready? And
1,
2,
3.
And eyes.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, did anybody notice their voices
Yes.
changed?
Of course.
Yes, mine did.
In sound and feel, right?
Wow, that's a great
It's kind of like
exercise.
character key.
Similar.
Something we use.
Well, see, when your eyes, if you're playing the part of a poker player on TV, don't use your eyes.
Right.
If you're playing the part of really talking to somebody that you want to let in, if you don't use your eyes, you are not going to be believable, because that's what people do. And the reason is this: your eyes are part of the physical. When you lift your eyebrows, you're lifting 2 things: your soft palate and the back of your nasal membrane. You're lifting the ceiling on your throat channel. So that allows different kinds of resonance.
Interesting.
Okay? So that's why we use eye language, because our eye language is connected to the tone of voice we're using.
Right.
Isn't that
Wow.
amazing?
And sounds so simple,
Now, let's
too.
do this. Yeah.
I've always said use your eyes, but I guess I just didn't know why. But it does change everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a
When
real
you do,
scientific,
it makes you-
biological reason.
Looks like this. Wow. And I say that
So-
with car commercials.
Yes.
I say, if you're not doing this,
Right.
and you're not excited about it, look at my eyes.
I hear a plane.
Can't do it
You
like
got
this.
Is there a plane?
Oh, that's my
Oh my God, if that's
my
your neighbor,
airport
you need to
going
move.
overhead, yes. You'll need a low pass filter for my particular.
We have
mic.
phones go off. We have dogs barking. It's all good. We keep it
I have
pretty
2 dachshunds, so
Yeah.
So oh my gosh, my grand dog is a dachshund, yes, and we laugh all the time
Yes.
about obedience
bark,
training.
bark, bark.
Yeah.
Stay.
So the other thing, now let's do the floor, all right? So again, same thing. Don't move your jaw very much, and count to 3, and then move your jaw like Forrest Gump, saying life is like a box of chocolates. All right?
Yeah.
Ready? And
1,
2,
three.
3, and move your jaw.
1,
2,
3.
You feel the difference in the.
Look like a
in
crazy
the-
person.
And you hear the difference, right? So if you're using your face in your poker face for eyes and jaw, 1, 2, 3, crazy eyes, crazy jaw, 1, 2, 3. And boy, does
Wow,
it change
yeah, you're
things.
right.
And there's one other direction. And Linda, you'll remember this from our work. There's one other direction that your throat channel, which was tight, opens.
Oh, yes. I do that all the time. I do.
So I've got a cockpit desk that I move
And a cocktail desk.
move my legs.
We said wait till after the show.
That I move my legs underneath, and then I'm closer to the mic, and yet my upper spine is straight, is more straight up rather than curved and moving into the mic. So what does that do? 2 things. Opens your rib cage, which gives you better breath control and breath support, which we need as well. And it opens your throat, because the C1 vertebra, the top of your neck bone, moves back just a little bit. And if you move back like that, like you did what? if you move back in that little cocky way,
You go, girl.
You'll feel your ears open. You'll feel your ears.
Oh, that's a good refresher.
Because it's all connected to the post-nasal drip zone.
Oh, which I always have such an issue with, especially with allergies. Allergies just gunk everything up.
Yeah, and when you have that and you start doing this, then things open. The orifices from your sinuses and your nose, they drain. And you could have a sudden rush of drainage, or your ears might pop.
Yes.
That's all good news. That means you're opening things up. And part of vocal warm-up is just getting rid of that gunk. I say bring it up and drown
Your
it.
frogs, right? Used to call them
Some
frogs.
pineapple
You still
juice.
call them frogs, yeah.
Frogs, yes. I commit frogicide all the time with some pineapple juice.
So I have a question for you on technique advice, because we have, there's a lot of students that are interested in animation and video game, and it's very
Right.
stressful on the vocal cords.
Right.
What advice
Right.
can you give for someone to not strain their cords for action type of,
Or those of us who do car commercials all
right,
the time.
car spots. Mm-hmm.
Support.
If you will, support your voice, meaning park your head over your tailbone instead of over your pubic bone and over, like the rear. Speak your butt off so you don't speak your throat out. And then what can happen is you can, just like singing, you can come with something really strong from resonance instead of just tight pushing through. Okay. And so one thing is to use technique better. If I go, yeah, see, I couldn't do that forward, and I can yell that all day long, and it doesn't hurt me one bit. But if I pushed that forward, it would, I would be like my throat would be spasming for half an hour. So there's ways rock singers and metal singers, which I train some, if you pull all that strength into being, then you create this resonance, and you just shape it into the kind of sounds you want. Even screams, metal screams. If you pull them backwards, you're going to have a lot longer career.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And if you do have to scream for, there's nothing but squeeze something because of a certain sound that you need for a character, and it's got to be some kind of abusive sound, then you better know some vocal exercises to warm down with after you're
Oh,
done.
wow. Warming down.
Yeah.
So why warm down? What's that? Yeah,
cooling
why
down.
cool down?
Well, and that's true for singers after long shows too, after significantly using your chords. Just like any athletic endeavor, your muscles are going to swell a little bit, right? And so this pumps, warming or cooling down, it means the same thing, that can pump interstitial fluid back out and also relift your voice in the head voice or the voice you don't normally use, so that your voice combines itself better and it relaxes and it gets flexible again after all that, powering through, usually in kind of one part of your range. So you do these, just crazy exercises like that to re-stretch everything. And
I know that if I've coached a lot during the day or done a long form narration, my voice will start to crap on me, like 4 o'clock. So my go-to is like, vocal rest, and then I just don't speak. But I didn't realize that maybe it would be beneficial to do
Is that why
some
you
sort
don't
of...
call me back?
Right.
Oh, jeez.
I'll tell you something funny. I've got a great classical coach named Mark Truss, and I work with him on the speaking voice and popular genre singing, contemporary voice, and he works with me on classical voice. So we can combine what we do. And he was teaching at 2 colleges, and he was having a hell of a time with vocal strain after teaching all day. So I showed him what I showed you, Linda, about changing his posture and using his eyes, which he wasn't doing. He was just kind of rote, just teaching what he knows, and pulling all this open and teaching that way. He never has vocal fatigue
Interesting.
anymore. What happens sometimes when we use our voices for a long time is our bodies get tired first, right? And so what happens then is we kind of shrink down. Right. You kind of shrink down, and your rib cage kind of starts to come in on itself, which blows the lid on your vocal control or your breath control, which is the same thing, because it lets your diaphragm have too much slack. So you're going to use too much air to do what you're doing. It takes a lot more physical energy to hold air back than it does to let out the air come forward.
JJ, do you ever get vocal fatigue? You never talk about that.
I have never, lost my voice in the 40
But like,
years I've been
you know,
doing
you
this.
do a lot of...
I do at the end of the day of a long, a 30-page script and then some car spots. It gets a little raspy, but in 20 minutes it's fine.
But like when we do
I'm
the...
a bad example.
I know you
I'll
are.
go have a piece of Velveeta and smoke 2 cigarettes and I feel
I
good
know,
again.
it's terrible.
I took vocal lessons as a child, and that's where I learned the support, and I think that's how I get away with it.
I think you've got a learned posture and a learned openness in your throat. You kind of do that just naturally.
Thank goodness,
and
because if I didn't,
where all that, that's where all that resonance
I do get
comes
strained
from,
at the end of the day.
Like after the
you know.
online workouts, do you feel any kind of fatigue?
Yes, sometimes yes.
Because you do a lot more
before
talking than me in those.
Yeah, depending on what's gone on before that. If I'm, doing sessions during the day and one right before, and then we talk, and then we talk to them, and it gets, and I just physically get tired.
Yeah, I get
think,
physically
as
tired.
well.
Yeah. When you do that, guys, do an experiment. Next time you start to notice that you're starting to get a little vocal fatigue, park yourself over your butt better. Straighten your upper spine out a little bit more and use your eyes a little bit more than you were doing and see if it doesn't make a difference.
Interesting.
I'll definitely try that.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating.
This is fun.
I know, we're getting
like
exercises out of
this.
this.
This is fun,
yeah. We've been talking a lot lately about the whole AI situation because it's been a hot topic in the voiceover industry. But the fantastic part about the human voice is that we can, in a sentence, begin with one emotion and end with another. Those beautiful nuances that I like to tell people, when you get to that point where you're so comfortable that you can basically make your voice do anything, So these nuances, how do you coach people into trying to find the nuances in their voice, or?
What I do, it's pretty simple, and then it's also complicated. And here's the simple part. It has to do with giving you access to your whole instrument. So that is exploring your cave there and how you can stretch it in ways you might have not have known that you could. And most of the time, most people have no idea about going back. And that just opens a whole other realm of resonance for them and nuance. Then, we get into, and so that's breath and open throat techniques. And then we get into acting technique, but really using the brass ring as, to get them out of thinking about what they're doing. But instead of that, to focus on the brass ring of getting the exact nuance back in that person's visage and body language back from who you're talking to. So you have to go a little deeper than most people do. And to, what am I saying? Why would they even want to hear it? How would it change them? Right. What do I really want to tell them this for? And it's got to be, it can't be, the money that you get from the Jingle client's got to be gravy. It can't be for that, just like acting. The brass ring is that response. So it's simple. I assess people by listening to them for a little bit, finding out where they're weakest. Is it breath? Is it a throat problem? Is it a communication skill problem? And then we attack that, whatever the weakest link is, and it affects the other two, and it gets better really fast. The complicated part is, that's why one of the reasons I love my work, everybody presents different issues.
Oh, yes.
Different strengths and different weaknesses. And so I get to be like Sherlock Holmes and
figure out
find out, where that is.
That's the game Linda and I play with our students. We actually did 2 classes in a row, one night and the next night, and we had 6 different people the second night, yet used the same copy as we did the first. None of the reads matched the first night. None.
Yeah.
They were all completely different, and it was amazing.
Different perspectives.
And now we're doing the mock auditions, and the very first person to do that on our first mock night, they all did the auditions, and I played them for Linda, and she goes, "Oh God, this is hard," because we'd never had to do that.
I know.
We were always in the other end, and she goes, "Who do you like?" And I go, "Well, I don't know. Who do you like?" So for 25 minutes, we went back and forth, and finally decided. And there was one week where we just said, "I'm sorry, none of you got it."
Yeah, none of you were good enough.
Because we like to keep it real and say that happens. With an agent. Sometimes they'll send out 50 auditions and they won't like any of them. They'll go to a different agent.
Yep.
So we told them that. They all went,
Oh, what?
None of us did it? I said, no. But then we
It's
worked.
subjective.
It is.
Yes.
It's so subjective. It really
I know
is.
something that I don't know if you encounter this, JJ, in your coaching, but one of the problems I will find is some students cannot relate. They'll look at the script and be like, well, I've never worked at a bank before. How am I going to, and I try to say, for me, I say, well, you need to relate it to something else for you. And a lot of them are like, well, I've never felt that emotion. So what is your advice when somebody, I know, it's like when they're completely, like they can't think outside of just these lines.
I always ask them,
Right.
were you ever a bank robber? I mean, you could put that towards the read.
You know what? I use the movie Alien with Sigourney Weaver, and you guys might be
I
too
know
young
that
Oh,
one.
no. Please.
But I say, the Sigourney Weaver never really wrestled with an alien, but she's definitely experienced fear
Yes.
and a protectiveness of a child. She has definitely experienced that. So you use, whether it's, there's a lot of hit songs that have been written to dogs.
Really?
Literally, like love songs to dogs. Oh yeah.
Who let the dogs
so
out?
You
Woof.
figure out.
Woof,
That's
woof.
right. That's right. You can sing a love song to the one heart of the audience, or to the person that you know, or the invisible you don't know, or somebody that's in your future, or you can sing it to your couch, for goodness sakes, or your cat.
So you're just
or whatever.
connecting with something.
It's just connecting with something.
Make sure the neighbors
right.
aren't watching, that's all.
So what hit songs were written for
Kitty,
dogs?
I love you.
What hit songs are written to dogs or for dogs?
From what I'm assuming this is still is true, but I heard that Mandy, the Barry Manilow
really?
song Mandy, was written to a dog.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of my students sing to their
What a
dogs.
wonderful
Oh,
song,
yeah.
too. I love Barry Maryland.
Barry Maryland?
Yeah.
I'm a voiceover actor.
Now that's what I'll think about if I hear that song. That is a great song, too.
Do you know what else he wrote?
But
He was a jingle writer. That's how he started.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He wrote, I am stuck
Wow.
on a Band-Aid and a Band-Aid
my
stuck on me.
gosh.
He wrote the Tidy Bowl.
unbelievable.
It's the real thing,
Yeah.
Coke.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
That's how
my
he got his
goodness.
start.
Now, Judy,
Yeah.
you were a jingle singer for many years, right?
Did you ever meet Connie Zimmett?
Yes, I started. Huh?
Now, Connie Zimmett was our mentor, and she was a jingle singer in New York.
Oh yeah, no. I was a jingle singer in Jacksonville. Started out.
Oh, okay. I thought you were in
with,
New York
with
for a
jingle
while.
singing
Gotcha.
there, and then Memphis.
Oh, Memphis,
And
okay.
I worked at the William B. Tanner Company for about 7 years, and we did 70% of the world's jingles.
Wow.
And radio ID packages. So yeah.
Wow. What are the most, can you name any that you...
And then I moved to Nashville, and then I did a lot more national spots. But all kinds of radio ID things.
109.7.
Yeah, and TV. I did the NBC, the Peacock thing. I did. I remember having to re-sing just hordes of different call letters, for the different stations.
wow.
And I did that as a solo, and Jimmy Dean's Sausage and the Funeral Home, that I was telling you about, where
You're really going to dig us.
my co-buddy, yeah, I'm going to tell you, my co-singer, who is we did voiceover too at the end of spots, because they didn't want to hire a voiceover person, so the singers did it usually.
Yes.
And became voiceover
Yes.
people, so I had to learn
That's
that.
how Connie did
But
it.
anyway,
Yeah.
he said at the end, he said, wait a minute, let me do that again. And then he goes, da-da-da, Funeral Home, we'll be the last to let you down. And so, things like that. We had to break them a mind.
Things are looking
we
up.
did jingles from 8:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon, 5 days a week. And if we didn't get them done, we had to do them till 5:30 instead of 3:30. And if we didn't get them done by then, we had to add Saturdays.
Wow.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
then I did, and I was in a nightclub group at night too. So
How did you do that?
I was young back
I know.
then.
So what is because people ask me about this too, what's the jingle market like now? Does it exist?
It's not nearly what it used to be, because in the old days, everything had a jingle
Yeah.
with it, Everything. Every brand had a jingle with it. Like every record had a background vocalist that was singing on it too. And it's not that way
Now, some of them are
anymore.
pretty terrible with the local stuff. Come to
yeah,
Jim's
yeah, yeah.
Roofing, you'll get
And,
nailed. Oh my God.
But there's still voiceover
Right.
with jingles, and there's still instrumental stuff with jingles, but not a whole lot of branded, jingle like blurbs.
I think they should bring that
there used
back.
to
I
be.
miss that. I really do.
Yeah,
It makes you
me
remember
too.
it more.
My bank misses that. Mailbox money,
Yes.
yes.
I've had a few
Anyway.
students that are singers, and they're like, I want to get into jingle singing. And I'm like, I couldn't even tell you where to begin with that at this point.
Now, it's all networking big time, and especially when it comes to jingles, because a lot of these jingle houses, they just have their in-house people
Yeah.
sing on them, so they can, make money that way. It's like the in-house writers, they sing on their jingles. So the only time you can kind of slip in is maybe they need a soloist that they need a different kind of voice for. But you just can't make a living, at that
jingles,
normally like you.
Do you
used
have to be, though, in...
That I would say it's side.
Do you have to be,
income,
like, in a major market or Nashville, or do you have to be located?
Well, I would say you got to investigate, because I don't hardly do them anymore, because I'm after SAG and I only do union spots.
Not much
so
union going on
the
here.
local, no, and so the local spots are the ones that are, getting done. So it's just networking. I would look, and anytime you hear a jingle, find out where it was done, and then go sit down with that company, sit down with the people and talk to them, and get to know them. That's the way the industry works. It probably still is for you guys.
It is. We just have to do it remotely, reach out to people,
Yeah,
find
yeah,
contacts,
right,
the
right.
continual, rigmarole, the
Hard
grind.
to bring the gun online, though.
What?
I want work.
What? Say it again?
Nothing. Nothing. I wasn't. I
You're
was
saying
kidding.
something abusive, I can tell.
No, I wouldn't do that ever. Just
Well,
being a
this is
pistol,
great.
that's
I don't
all.
think people realize that singing, that it does work hand in hand with voiceover.
Very much so.
and
I
that-
think somebody who's musical has a much more.
But I'm
of
just
an
saying, like, as
opportunity.
far as, like, you don't need to just get a voice acting coach. A singing coach can help you. The right singing coach
Absolutely.
can help you to learn how to use your voice,
Right.
because it isn't just, we,
Yeah, it's the same instrument.
because we go through,
I find that.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
copy comprehension. We focus on that. We focus on how to understand what the client is trying to express, but when it comes to the techniques, like the things I learned from you, that I wouldn't know how to really teach that to someone else, but for the physicality, the ways you had me hold my body, and there was mental aspects to it as well, that I do talk about this with my students, that for the longest time, the pretty voice was what booked the jobs, and so that's what I was. I was the pretty voice. You're clear as a bell, they would tell me. And now, obviously, it's, cooking's hard. That whole thing. And that's not me. So I've had to adjust myself to just speak normally. And I remember
I'm a
you telling me,
minimalist.
I remember you telling me, you are enough. You don't need to put out this other. And it took me a while to get that around my head, to go, wait a minute, just speaking like this is going to get me work, but that's also a confidence thing. That's
Yes.
it's like you have to sit on the couch of a therapist for.
My mother used to say that the hardest thing about acting was being yourself,
Yeah.
because you don't have anybody to hide behind.
Yeah, it's tough to accept that as something enough to make money with.
But back to the music thing real quickly, I find that people who are not musical most of the time can't do a line reading because they can't hear it.
Yeah,
And that's always an issue for me.
you have to have
because
some
you've
semblance of an
you've
ear,
got to have some musicability.
Yeah.
Musicability.
or at least be able to mimic.
Is that one word or two?
Musicability?
It's kind of like refrigerator freezer.
I think you just made one up.
It should be refrigerator. I mean, it's much easier to say.
What?
Anyway,
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
George Carlin, whatever.
Yeah, but mimicry, we talk about that too, is so
Yes.
important as well. And
Because sometimes I did a session the other day, and I swear I got sent a scratch track, and not only did he want me to keep the same time exactly, he wanted every inflection to be just like his.
oh wow,
And every one of them went up.
oh god.
He was and there'd be a pause, and then and then and I did it line by line and matched him exactly. He said, "I don't know how you did that." I said, "I just listened to you and just copied it, put it in the video."
And he was happy with it.
Yeah, loved it.
You know what?
read.
That's the way to do it. It's a way to learn styles. Like, there's a big difference between Southern gospel and country. And if you sing one style in the other one, you sound inauthentic and silly. And so how do you learn? And see, I know you can do this because I never knew anything about R&B until I moved to Memphis when I was 19, I guess. And then I loved it. I immersed myself in it. And ever since then, R&B is just part of my style. That's part of my DNA as a singer and a musician, with the groove and with the, the inflections and the bluesy kind of thing. I love it. Well, when my students want to learn something different, or when they want to, like I had a student who was going on the road with Bruce Hornsby, and he needed to sound just like Bruce on a couple of things and really high and all that. So what we did is mimic. It's just like you're talking about, and what you do, but you really, really, really dig in when you mimic. Instead of singing along with somebody, what I tell people is put your earbuds in and listen. The first step is just to listen to a little section. And then the second section is mime it, and don't make a sound. Mime it the way you think they're doing. So your instrument is moving, but you're not making a sound through it. So you're still really, listening. You're really, really focused in on what they're really doing instead of what you think they're doing, which is what most people do. They just kind of do what they think they're doing. And then the third step, after you do that for a while, then sing lightly with them and see if you're right. And then if you aren't, you go back to the first two steps. And then finally, you sing along with them loudly, and then you sing with the karaoke track. And that little by little, so it's a time-consuming thing.
It is.
But it's the only way to do it authentically.
So can that be applied as well when they say, we need you to sound like this actor, and they send you a YouTube video?
Yes.
And the same thing. You just listen.
You know what I always do? I do the voice in the ad first before the YouTube video, and I use that voice. And I send it back to him.
Well, that's not right, JJ.
Oh, no? Oh.
Here's something that I've always been curious about, and I know from hearing it myself.
Yes, Linda, I am taller in person.
Our voices age, but as voice
thanks,
actors... Well, Connie Zimmett used to always say, she goes, your voice is just going to get deeper as you get older, and it's going to have more... I don't know. She said it was going to be a good thing because at the time I was like, what? But, for vocal health as we age, do you have any advice on how to keep that going?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Eat glass.
Embrace the fact that it's going to get better instead of worse. And the truth is, I'm 70 years old and I've got more vocal range than I've ever had in my life.
You're 70?
Bottom and top.
She does not look
31.
70.
I am 31. You look fantastic.
I'm not in my heart, but yes.
Oh, let's not talk about the heart, okay?
But what I want you to
my heart, I'm 142.
But what the truth is that this instrument in your neck, okay, let me back up a little bit. Which would you rather play, an old piano or guitar, or a brand new piano or guitar? And the answer should be
an old one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because it's more resonant, right? There's nothing limited about it.
It's seasoned.
There's nothing limited about it. It's seasoned, and it's the hammers are harder, the wood is more dense, the cartilage is more dense.
Okay.
So you're going to sound more like a woman than a little girl, but if you wanted to, you could kind of sound like
could still go, right.
So I just don't believe in limitations with the voice, and as long as you physically take care of yourself and use it or lose it.
Right.
You got to use your voice. So if you sing, keep singing. It's just yes.
And let's remind
singing
people
while old is a thing.
Like sometimes I get sent things that say between 25 and 30 years old, and I write them back, and I'm just laughing hysterically, and I don't do things that you're not suited for. I always say, give somebody else a slot who's 25 or 30.
Or sounds like that.
I don't sound that way anymore, and I can't get my voice up that high.
That's different.
It's just if you need to. You're on a need-to-know basis.
Right.
You're in a need to know how to do that. If something came up suddenly, then you could do it. Or you could create your own little characters if you had a situation where you were doing that. And you can use parts of those things with, so, I know what you mean.
I heard...
I get a lot of insurance companies lately. Do you have diabetes?
Diabetes.
Yes.
I heard Tom Jones a couple years ago. He got up and just a cappella sang, and it was unbelievable.
Yes,
And how old
yes.
is this guy? You know,
He's 114.
114, and he sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So I guess
Still has the highs. Now, some of the rock stars who are trying to come back don't. And they should go backstage and go do something else.
Well, if you don't use good vocal technique, it's job security for me.
Exactly
When
right.
you lose your voice and you need your career
you
back.
got to take care of your voice. No smoking, JJ.
I'm actually, with the upcoming events that I have going on, I'm probably going to try to stop.
Oh my God, you said it on the podcast too. So there you go.
I did.
There is a book that I found out
know, I
about
smoked
from
it.
a person in Dolly Parton's road tour, and she's a dear friend of mine. She said the whole tour group they found out about this book in over in Europe, and it's called The Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr, and all of them quit, and I did too. I used to smoke. And it makes no sense whatsoever. There's no logic to it.
No.
But it's psychological, especially with people in our business, And
It is.
I mean, we're
I feel
nervous. People, the people at the Met smoke, but it's not. No, it will kill you. So The Easy Way to Quit Smoking, and the author is now dead. He died from smoking 5 or 6 packs a day when he was smoking.
5 or 6 packs a day? Wow. Oh, good Lord. I don't do that. I smoke 3/4 of a pack a day, and this much. No, I'm not that bad, but good Lord.
Sorry, and how cool is that you're good friends with Dolly Parton, because she's amazing.
Well, I've sung for her on a record and stuff like that, but I'm best friends with, especially with the girl a girl that's in her.
That's so
touring
cool.
group.
She's amazing. This has been so cool.
She's amazing.
This has been
It really
amazing.
has.
We're getting so
It
much
really has.
like.
I just need a cigarette or something after this. It's just awesome.
It's all in your head.
Now, obviously,
That's right.
Judy coaches online, because that's how I found her. But you also have a couple of courses that you release too, right? Tell us about that.
I do. One is called Singing in the Studio, which is like the ultimate guide in pre-production for, things you definitely don't know about. But it comes from my 50 years of being in the studio and also producing others in the studio. And my primary course is Power Path and Performance, which is my method of training. And that is in a couple of different packages of the 6 CDs, or 6 discs rather, I call them now because nobody has CD players. And
The millennials
also
are going,
one,
what?
the 1 disc.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, CD.
Yeah,
right.
I got one at the bank.
And I'm starting on a video training course I was telling you about, Linda, before we started. And I'm really looking forward. It'll take a few months to get that one done. But the very first module I'm going to do, there's like 12 modules. Each one is going to be about 45 minutes long. So I'll divide those in smaller videos.
I think a male
so people
voice
can
on those would be
consume
good.
them. Yeah. But the first one I'm going to do is going to be on the speaking
Oh,
voice.
fantastic. So, I mean, and
Yeah.
everything, obviously, you can go to your website, judyrodman.com.
Yeah.
And you have a
Yes.
great blog, because I get your newsletters, and you just told me how many people have subscribed to this thing?
On my blog, I've got over 2 million views, and then the corresponding podcast, All Things Vocal, it's called, and the corresponding podcast has it's getting about an average of 1,000 listens, 1,000 plays an episode, an
Fantastic.
average. And so it's getting up there like 150,000 plays
Nice.
or something. But you're on my blog.
Yes,
Linda.
yes,
I interviewed
yes, you
for
did,
it.
you
Yeah.
did. But it's a great blog post, and it applies to.
I didn't know you then.
Oh, okay.
Now you have officially met. But there's you interview a lot of interesting people from different arenas of the
Yeah.
industry, which is cool because it's not just singing. There's all different
Right.
aspects.
Right.
So definitely you guys gotta check out her page and sign up for her blog and all that. This has been great. Thank you so much.
It really has. Very
Oh,
informative.
you're
Yeah,
so welcome.
this is
this has been great to reconnect.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
seen you in so long too.
It's just like I've never even met you. It's like we never, yeah.
We know the same thing.
Yes, we do.
Same situation.
Well, I'm sure you live around the corner.
Oh, one other thing I want to make sure that I share with everybody, Linda, because I know we've talked about it, but is the pineapple juice.
Yes.
When you are getting vocal fatigue, it's sometimes dehydration, because anytime you use your voice, you are winding it a bit. You're going to dehydrate the edges a little bit, and so, but a little bit of pineapple juice, like a fifth pineapple juice, and the rest water, and the bromelain enzyme soothes the tissues of the throat better than anything I've
been cutting it
Really?
50-50. I've been doing half.
Have you?
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah?
I do tell students to use it as well, but I've been doing 50-50. It's supposed to be less.
Yeah. No, well, it's whatever. If it doesn't lead you, the only reason you want to use less is if it were to give you acid reflux or
Gotcha.
something like that. But if you don't have any problems with that, I don't drink
Right.
it straight.
All right, so that's 50% pineapple juice, 50%. Did you say Jack Daniels? Or
Jack Daniels, yes.
I'm sure that would help with the dehydration and the hydration. It
or
would probably
you just
even
don't
out.
care?
Well, thanks again, Judy. It was so nice
Thank you,
to
Judy.
have you here.
Very, very much.
Oh, it's so great to meet you, JJ.
Thank you,
and
likewise.
Thank you, Linda.
Likewise.
So,
And if you're ever in Greenbrier, look me up.
I will do that.
Okay, I have a
will do
studio
that
that's really
soon and
huge.
very soon.
not at
Yeah,
all.
me too.
Well, that wraps up another edition of the Voiceover Gurus podcast, and many thanks
Yes,
again.
it certainly does.
Yes, and go to our website, voiceover.guru. If you have any questions or anything you'd like us to talk about, you can go to email us at info@voiceover.guru.
Guru.
And also join us for an online workout. We love to have
Yeah.
folks join us. And
Now we've learned some more stuff from Judy we can use
I know.
during
I'm
our
going to be
workout.
focused on my posture now more. I've gotten
Yeah,
a
I'm going to be
refresher.
saying, sit up.
Use your eyebrows. Open up your eyes.
Right. Oh, God, I got to get my
Everything
eyebrows done. That
flexibly.
reminded me. Oh, God.
People with Botox have a problem.
I'm
with it.
sure. I'm sure. No expression. But thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, let's end the show in 3, 2, oh, wait, 1.
One. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.